Hey everyone, how you doing today? We are the real estate ladies of North Atlanta, Mary Ellen Vanaken and Sue Jennings here, and we have another episode. And what are we going to talk about today, Sue?
Today, we're going to talk about what sellers need to do to get their home ready to list.
Ooh, that's an interesting topic. So what are we going to start with?
Well, we're going to talk about, I'll give you a couple high level points of what we're going to talk about in advance, and then we'll
Okay.
go into the detail and summarize it all up for you. The first thing we're going to talk about is cleaning and decluttering. 2 is making repairs. 3 is enhancing curb appeal. 4 is staging the interior. 5 is freshening up paint. 6 is maximizing natural light. 7 is addressing odors. And 8 is highlighting key features of the home.
Awesome. All right. Well, should we start with the first one?
Yeah, the first one was clean and declutter.
Oh my
So
goodness.
basically, everybody has a different definition of what a clean home is. Trust me, there's all that is a has a wide range of definitions.
So how do
But
you deal with that and answering that question to people? Because you don't want to offend them in any way, right?
so one of the first places I start with when I talk about cleaning and decluttering is I talk about taking out their personal photos, because we want the buyers to be able to visualize them living in that home, and they don't need to see it as somebody else's house. They need to see it as their potential home.
Right.
So removing photos is the first place of decluttering. The other thing that I always tell sellers is you're moving. So let's go ahead and start boxing things now. You can take your boxes and you can stack them either in a garage, a storage room, a basement, wherever it's convenient for you to put them. Our photographer is not going to photograph them. So if you put them along the wall of the garage, or you put them along the basement wall, storage room wall, they're fine. It's totally okay. Everybody understands that you're moving and that you're preparing to move. You're just making your life easier in the going forward. Decluttering also means sometimes picking up little throw rugs that you might have all over the house. I understand that you want one maybe at your front door so people can wipe their feet, but also keep in mind that those things can be tripping hazards, and you need to make sure that your home is safe for every buyer that comes through the home and every agent that comes through the home. So, visually, we don't want extra things sitting around. I always tell people less is more. If in doubt, go ahead and box it up. We really don't need it if you're questioning whether it should be there or not. The answer is get rid of it. Anyway, and also decluttering. Sometimes people have too many plants around their home, and we love your plants. I love my plants. I've got a plant in the background right now, but we don't need great big huge plants eating your space. So maybe temporarily find another home for them. If they're sickly, we don't want to photograph them anyway. We don't want a dead plant in the home. I can tell you a story of one time I was in a home in the Manor, which is one of the nicest communities in the area.
Yeah.
And right in the kitchen was a dead plant. I'm like, okay, so they're selling this house. They're asking X number of millions of dollars for this house. How is this plant adding to the beauty and the value of this home right now? It's really not. So just go ahead and get rid of it.
And I'll tell you what I tell to people. I go, take half the stuff. I don't, I'm just like, take half the stuff and put it away. Take half the stuff from everywhere. So just minimalize. And I think just we all don't show our house and list our and live in our house the same way.
Right.
Because I wouldn't list my house right now. No, I don't think there's anybody that is living in their house right now that would list it without being preparing it to list. So I think
Right.
that that's important. You know,
Right. So when we talk about cleaning and decluttering,
yes.
I'm also talking about start at the front door as if you're the buyer coming in to see the house for the very first time. Do you have glass in your front door? A lot of new front doors are all glass, from the sidewalk right on up. Make sure that glass is clean, that it's been cleaned recently and not, 7 years ago when you moved into the house. Also, make sure that, your floors are clean. If you've got carpet, go ahead and get it shampooed. People don't want to see that your dog had an accident on that carpet 3 months ago and the stain is coming back up in the carpet. Make sure you're taking care of basic things that if you were the buyer, you would want to see and you would feel comfortable with as well. That includes if you've got walls that are scratched, damaged in any way, go ahead and get a handyman in to paint those walls. It makes the house look a lot cleaner ultimately. Just remove excess pieces of furniture, remove excess personal items. Make sure that your knickknacks aren't the type of thing that somebody could accidentally break for you or that a child might want to pick up and take home as a toy. Just, we don't want to tempt anybody with anything, and we also don't want you to lose any of your things unnecessarily. But a clean, decluttered home looks much more spacious and is always much more appealing to a buyer.
And I have some stuff to add to that too. So it's not only inside the house, it's outside the house as well.
Right.
So we're talking about windows and screens. Like make sure your windows are, get someone out to do all of your windows inside and out. Also, what's one thing that we all do not like to clean is those fans and high ceilings and those lighting fixtures. That stuff needs to be taken care of too. Having someone come in and do a deep clean of your house before photos is really, it'll make your house look sparkly clean and smell good. And oh, when you're having a showing, should you put chocolate chip cookies in your oven? Does
You
that
can
sell
if
a
you'd
house?
like.
So that makes it smell good too. So I mean, just a matter of, everybody loves when they have cleaners that come on a regular basis. When they come, they clean up their house before the cleaner comes, right?
Right.
When they leave, it smells so good. It looks so good. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a deep clean of a house, all the clutter gone and away, and just ready for photos. That's what we're looking for.
Right. And like you touched on, that deep clean includes your exterior. Your exterior could mean that maybe you need to just simply pull some weeds in your flower beds. Make sure that your grass is cut, that things are trimmed, and that things look nice and neat and appealing from the curb. If there's a little bit of paint peeling on your windowsills and so forth, you might want to get somebody in to take care of that, scrape a little bit of that paint and put a fresh coat of paint on those windowsills. It does make a difference in how the buyers perceive the home, because what could cost you, maybe $100 to fix, a buyer sees that as $1,000.
Power washing. Power
Oh,
washing. Huh.
yes. Nobody wants to see, a slimy, moldy green deck. They don't want to see, muddy green sidewalks. They want to see that the house has some love and that it's been well cared
And
for.
driveway too. And
Mm-hmm.
who loves,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, it's easy to get somebody to power wash that and just take care of that, but it's also kind of fun to do it yourself because,
Right,
like, I
right.
know it's like good stress to get out, do some power washing. That's always kind of
Right,
fun.
right.
And
And then, go around your house and make a list of, the leaky faucets or where light bulbs are burnt out. Just simply replacing a light bulb can change the image of a whole room to a buyer because, they want to see it as light, bright, and airy and inviting. Make sure that you're, maintaining any flooring that might be torn or dirty or worn out. These are just cosmetic things, but cosmetic repairs generally are pretty inexpensive and go a long way in making a house appealing to a buyer.
yeah, and I was just thinking of something too, is that most people have cameras inside their house and outside their house. So when
Hmm.
you come up and see the house, you also want to see like nice flower bed or nice flowers sitting on the porch so that when
Hmm.
you walk in, it's just like this inviting feeling. So I think it's important to really kind of make everything clean, declutter, and just also know that people are always watching you. That's number
Right.
one. I've been telling everybody lately, like, please, you don't know, people have cameras everywhere. So
Right. They
just
can
be
also
careful.
often hear you as to what you're saying. So you might want to
Yes,
be careful what you say. You can
especially the
always,
young ones that have like cameras in every single room and every single place, and they're like, oh, that person said that about that. I mean, I can't tell you how many sellers have called me up and they go, that person said that while they were in my house, and I was like, oh boy. So make sure you kind of keep your mouth shut when you walk into a house too. So anyway, that was just a
right.
little off track, but just kind of fun little tidbit that we're tell everybody right now. All
Right.
right, what are we gonna what's
You can make your comments, but wait until you're outside and talk about it when you're out in the street.
yes, exactly. All right, so the next thing we're gonna kind of talk about is repairs.
Right.
So what are we talking about repairs? We talked a little bit about, if something's, your carpet and your flooring and stuff, but what else do we, repairs that are important?
I always tell my sellers that kitchens and bathrooms are really important to people. So just make sure that appliances are all working, that all the burners work on the stove, that your utilities are turned on, that it's even if it's like you've got mismatched appliances, it might if they're old, you might want to replace one or two of them to make the house look much more appealing because a kitchen is so important to people. Also in the bathrooms, make sure all the light bulbs work, that the faucets are all working, and that they're not dripping and leaking.
Yeah.
And if you have broken tile anywhere, try to get it fixed. Make sure the bottom of that shower floor is clean and it doesn't show stains from
Water.
another nice tip to do is to have a bathtub is to take the caulk where the bathtub meets the tile, remove that and just recaulk that. It's a 15-minute repair that can make such a difference, getting rid of any like black mold or whatever might be created in that space.
Yeah, and I think also like, you know, uh any dings in the walls, right? A fresh coat of
Right.
paint does like wonders. And people do ask, well, I have a lot of pictures on the walls and things like that. Should I take them down and fill up the holes and repaint? What should I do, Sue?
Well, a lot of times it depends upon which wall we're talking about, because I think your main spaces are much more important in terms of fresh color and so forth than a child's bedroom is. As I have to pick my battles sometimes on what I ask people to do, and I will focus on those main areas first. And if a child's bedroom is painted lavender, I won't ask them necessarily to paint it. But if a main bedroom, excuse me, a primary bedroom, which would be the owner's bedroom, is painted kind of an off or unique color, that is something I will ask them to update because that generally needs to be very neutral, light, and bright. And we can recommend paint colors to people that we know that are appealing and work well in most lights.
Yeah, paint is kind of important.
Paint's one of the
Any other
cheapest things you put in your home, frankly, and
Yeah,
it's one of the
absolutely. And
easiest
we'll make
fixes
it
to really.
Everyone
Mhm.
likes a fresh coat of paint. I always tell people that's an easy fix is just paint and then do the neutral colors, either a tan or a gray or a white or something like to that effect. And we have many colors depending on what month it is,
Yeah.
what kind of colors you should put in.
And this is really a simple thing to do, but can really make your home look so much nicer. I've often asked sellers, excuse me, to place certain knobs on certain
Yes.
cabinets. Maybe they had some really unique knob or something that just looks really out of date. It's amazing what buying a box or a bag of knobs in Home Depot can do for you. They're very inexpensive and can make a big difference on the way a certain cabinet or area of the home looks. The other thing, we touched on light bulbs a little bit, and I'm going to circle back to that too. Lampshades are another interesting place where you can make your home look much more up to date, make it look cleaner and brighter. A tattered or torn or yellowed lampshade can really just visually impact a buyer. It's really funny.
And another thing I was just thinking of, and we were thinking so much alike when, as soon as you were saying about those knobs, I was saying, oh my God, that's exactly what I was going to say. But also like the knobs on like all the bedrooms and stuff, like, certain things are out and we need to, put them more trendy. And also like the electrical where, plates. Those are
Mhm.
another thing where you can get some really nice ones, and that makes a huge difference in a house too.
Yeah, and that also ties into my next comment was going to be about light fixtures themselves. If you go to Home Depot and Lowe's, and even your Ace Hardware or something, you can purchase light fixtures fairly inexpensively anymore. And you need to take a look at some of those ceiling fans and maybe some of the older light fixtures that really look out of date because recently, I assisted another agent with staging a home, and we went through and replaced a lot of the lights, and it cost us about $20 per light to do that. And that was a huge, it just freshened the home up so amazingly well by doing that. And it was, it took a handyman just a short period of time to take care of that.
Yeah, great. Well, I think we really touched repairs. I mean, repairs can mean so
Mhm.
many different things. Now we're going to go off to the curb appeal,
Right.
which
And we
is
touched
fun.
on this earlier about making sure that you're mowing your lawn, that you're pulling your weeds, that you're trimming, getting fresh pine straw or getting, fresh mulch put down on your beds. Flowers are always a nice thing, but even more so than that, trimming those bushes is really, really key. If you've got any trees that have broken limbs or anything like that, get those cleaned up. And don't, if a tree fell in your backyard, get rid of the trunk. Do not let it stay there because I can assure you the buyer's going to ask you to remove it anyway because they don't want to move into the house and have to clean up any of your debris or your clutter.
And you touched a little bit about, the front door and making
Mhm.
sure that that's nice and clean and the curb appeal. Like when you're looking at a house from the street, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And, we talked about the power washing. We talked about just having it nice and clean out there. And honestly, those like lighting fixtures that you have like above your garage and in your front porch,
The
because
spider webs.
the spider webs and the birds putting nests in them and stuff, make sure that that's all kind of cleaned up. That's stuff that people don't realize, but it is kind of important when you're going to look at the curb appeal of a house.
Right. I think you really have to put your buyer's hat on and, take a fresh pair of eyes and walk through your home and say, I'm a buyer, what I want to buy this home and what's distracting me from putting an offer in on this home? What is it? And so sometimes as we step inside the home, that could be just having too much furniture in a space. So less is more in a lot of these cases, and we are happy to, assist you with saying, let's move the second sofa out of this room. We really only need one right now. Or, you know, three end tables might be a bit too much. Let's take it down to one. Extra tables, things like that just are not necessary. And we want the space to have a nice flow to it. We want it to have a warm feeling to it. We don't want it to feel cold. We want it to just be tastefully decorated, minimal accessories. Try to keep that space as open and as clean so that we can get quick offers and lucrative offers.
Okay, and then just going back to curb appeal. If you're how many times, and I've done this numerous times with my clients where we drive to a house and they look at the curb appeal and go, I don't want to see that house. Right? We've done that
Right,
multiple
right,
times.
right.
I've had that happen to me. You've had that happen to me. We've had it happen when we have a seller and the listing agent, buyer's agent calls us up and goes,
Hmm.
they just didn't like the curb appeal of the house.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's believe it or not, that is like the curb appeal is your first, besides everything being online, all the videos and all that stuff, but that is your first important impression. Your first
Right,
impression of the house is the curb appeal. So I feel
right.
like that is really a spot that you need to tidy up and spruce up, where a lot of people don't focus on that. So I find that that's something that people do not focus on that, and they need to.
Right. And maybe sometimes it's because the bushes are too overgrown, or, things need to be brought down from the windowsill so that people can really see that the stone on the house is really pretty, or, that there are features to that house that the old shrubbery and so forth just is not helping the
Not
house.
not
Yeah.
helping. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about interior. I know that we talked a little bit about staging
Right.
and is it better to have a vacant house or have some furniture in or no furniture in. Let's kind of touch on that a little bit. And I know that it has to do with how your house looks. I mean, okay, we all don't want to go into a house and see grandma's 80-year-old couch, right? You know what I mean? And curtains and things like that. So I will go through a house, and if it's really, really outdated,
Mhm.
it's better to have it all taken out and show the house vacant than
Right.
show it with the furniture. So that's something that we definitely, if possible, can do. We will have
Right.
that conversation.
Right.
And because you have to look at the people that are purchasing your home, right? You have to look at
Right.
the type of person that's going to buy this property, and you really have to gear towards what's trending in that lifestyle.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's really interesting. We had a home several years ago that we had it on the market. It was a lovely home, but it just wasn't selling. It had gotten some offers. They were good offers, not great offers. And we recommended that the seller take it off the market and gave them a list of things to do. And they did all of those things, including some fresh paint, a update to a bathroom, fresh furniture, an update to a deck, things like that. And then we put it back on the market, and that home sold for far more than it did the first time it was listed. Plus, it sold very, very quickly. We brought it back on the market. And so staging is very important, and timing of all this is very important, and really taking it very, very seriously to what needs to be done to get the home sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of time.
Yeah. So Sue, let me just give you so if you have a vacant home, and which rooms would you stage?
I would try to stage the living room, perhaps the dining room, like those main living areas, maybe the master bedroom. It does not matter whether the secondary bedrooms are staged at all, truthfully.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't worry about staging a basement.
Mhm.
If there's furniture there and somebody's living in the house and they're going to be continuing to live in the house and their
Mhm.
furniture is there, yes, we will stage it. We will declutter it, and make sure that it is presentable. But if the seller needs to move out, or they don't want to deal with the showings and they want to move out before we list it, those would be the key areas that we would try to stage if we can.
Yeah.
And there's no one answer to any of all this. We do take it on a case by case basis. A lot of it depends upon the current where the home is located, the price point of the home, what the current demand is for that type of home in that area, and of course what the seller's needs are.
Right. Right. And if just do a little bit of moving around some furniture or getting rid of some furniture and staging it, you might get more money, right? And isn't that the
Absolutely.
goal, right? Wouldn't you
It's
want more money because you just did a couple things moving around a couple things of furniture? Okay.
Right. We had a home about a year or so ago that was very cluttered when we first saw it. So I went in and made recommendations, and the seller was in the process of building a new home. So we said, well, chances are we will sell your home before your new one will be ready. Do you have a place that you can move to in the interim? And they did. So being that they had temporary housing already lined up, we made the recommendation of which pieces of furniture they should take out of the home and maybe uh, put in storage temporarily. And Atlanta Peach Movers is a great company to work with as far as storage and that sort of thing. We lightened up that home. We even worked on the exterior deck spaces and patio spaces to make sure that they looked inviting for families of all ages and types. And we depersonalized this home, but really made an impact on the way the home looked. And that house, Mary Ellen, it sold over asking price in a
Right. And
very,
we
very
had
short
shut
time.
down showings on that house. I
We
remember.
did. We
The
did.
clients were like, we're done, we're done, we have this many, we're done, we don't want any more
Right.
showings, so
Right.
that's always good, just listening, and we love when our clients listen to us and do what we suggest,
Hmm.
and just kind of go from there. So
Right.
let's talk about paint, which I think we did talk a lot about
Hmm.
paint, but let's
Yeah.
talk about some paints right now.
Right. We want to make sure that the paint is neutral, that it's fresh looking, and that it's clean looking as well. The neutral colors of paints appealed to a wider or broader range of clients, potential buyers than specific colors. They can make the space feel more inviting and spacious and just happier in general, and that's what buyers love.
Yeah, so what are some of your favorite paint colors from Sherwin-Williams?
Oh, well, I have actually done a video on paint colors. I mean, one of my favorite colors right now is Eider White.
Yes,
That's a
that's a great
very pretty
color.
color. Um, I used to really like accessible beige and agreeable gray. Those colors are not quite as in vogue as they should be currently, but they're a little bit darker. More of the tones right now are going towards whites.
Yes.
Any of the true whites and so forth. I do have a list here somewhere, but if somebody is interested in the paint colors, I do show samples in the video that I did and go through a lot of the paint colors. Like pure white from
Yeah,
Sherwin-Williams is a good basic one to go with. City Loft is a very popular color. And in fact, if you look at the wall behind me, that's City Loft. It's a
that's
very, very
blurred out, so
soft,
we really
it's
can't
blurred
see.
out, but yeah, soft is a great color to go with in many situations
Yeah.
and goes
So
with everybody's decor.
yeah, so I think just going with paint colors, we don't want any bright orange or pink or green, even though we love that, or hot pink carpeting or anything kind of crazy like that, right? We're,
Hmm. Hmm.
we're not stuck in the what 70s, 80s, and 90s. We need to be stuck in this year. So just kind of
Right,
go from there and look at what's kind of trending. We can help you in that aspect. And every month the colors are changing, what's real popular. So
right.
we're this year we're going towards a lot of like the greens and the blues and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it's very interesting how the color changes every so often. So you just kind of
I
have to go with
think
the thing.
I think for a few years people were going in and painting their homes. Everything was getting painted gray.
Gray. Hmm.
That kind of gone by the wayside like colors do. Everything goes through cycles, and that's
Right.
okay. Right now, things are more towards the white and the very creamy tones.
Yep. No, that's great. That's great. I agree. So let's talk about natural light.
Open your curtains, open your blinds. Don't be afraid of somebody seeing in your home, because actually the way I look at it is that if somebody has to watch my life, then their life must be pretty boring. But anyway.
I am such an advocate of my blinds are open all the time except for when I sleep, like in my bedroom,
Mhm.
but my whole house because I love light. I have two-story windows which bring in a lot of light. You also have to see how the house is facing, where the sun comes in the morning, where the
Right.
sun comes in the afternoon. That is so huge, the natural light. Most people nowadays, every time you have a buyer consult with them, what's one of the things? I want an open floor plan and natural light. Those are two really important things that people like right now. So natural light seems to be great. Uh, Open up the blinds.
Right.
Sometimes you don't need curtains and drapes anymore. It's just
Mhm.
preference. But sometimes if you take that off and you don't get a lot of light where you're at, you have to just watch that too, because people want that. They want light in their kitchen.
But remember, if you're opening your blinds, wash your windows. You want the house to sparkle.
Well, we already talked about washing windows, and
Right.
that's like the number one thing. Yeah,
Right.
you don't want to look outside there too. And
Right.
there's nothing wrong with having blinds, just have them open. You don't have
Right.
to open them totally up and that kind of stuff. But
Right.
just like putting lights on when you're showing a property, it's the same thing. The worst is going into a house and you're walking in and you're like, oh, I think this is the house for my clients, and you're like running in and opening up all the blinds and window and lights. You want it to show better.
Right.
So I think
Right.
that, you know, gloomy and dark is just not what people are looking for.
Right. Right. And that's the first thing I do when I go in a house is I turn on every single light, just to try to make the home show the best in the best possible light as it can.
Yeah, and what about like, if there's trees that are close to the house that are making it darker, maybe you need to trim some of those trees so the lights
Right.
come in. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You know, the other thing that I'm very sensitive in homes, and I think some other people are too, whether it's because of allergies or just, you know, cooking, whatever, is odors in a home.
Yes.
So I think that's the other thing when you put on your buyers and you look at your own home, try to be aware of any odors that could be lingering in your upholstery or in your carpets or any other place. And that's where the deep cleaning can really help eliminate some of those older odors. Getting rid of some of those older pieces of furniture. We had a situation a couple years ago where we had an odor in a basement and we couldn't quite figure out where it was coming from. And here it was from a chest of drawers that had been in grandma's house years before and actually had mold on the chest of drawers. Yet when we had the home inspected for potential mold and anything else, it was only tied to that one piece of furniture. So
Wow.
you just need to be aware of things that because that can, you know, create an issue in a home and you don't even realize it.
Well, and I can tell you a story. I was showing some property just last week, and we went into this house, and boy, it was they probably had 20 candles on or whatever, and you went in there and you walked right out because sometimes when you smell that kind of stuff, you think that they're hiding something.
Right.
So you just have
Right.
to be sensitive. A lot of us are sensitive with allergies or whatever, but walking into the house and smelling, I think the smell of chocolate chip cookies are better.
Right, right. And I always try to tell my sellers, do not leave candles lit in the
No,
home
do not
and
do
do
that.
not
That's a
leave the
no-no.
home with a lit candle. Yeah, too many house fires and you know, unfortunate things have happened because of somebody doing something like that.
Yeah, smells are not good. So my
Yeah, chocolate chip
suggestion,
cookies are good because they're not
chocolate chip cookies
artificial.
all the way. And then you
Right.
just like, oh, and you put them out to eat. Oh my God. I had a
Yeah.
client who made from scratch these chocolate chip cookies. And every time we had a showing, she had them out with a little note and stuff. And everyone's
Hmm.
like, can I have the recipe? I'm like, nope, I'm sorry. She's not giving it away. But anyway, it was just so nice because everyone would come in and they'd have this nice, warm chocolate chip cookie when they were
Yeah.
in the house. So
I had one of those cookies in that house one day. She was an amazing baker.
oh my God, an amazing baker. Oh my God, he was
Yeah.
so good. And I was like, this is amazing. So anyway, that's just a chocolate chip cookies, or maybe get a candle that smells like chocolate chip cookies. I don't know. But don't get those
Right.
really strong candles, just like a light candle,
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
vanilla, just something light, because I find the strong candles just turn people off. They think that something wrong with that. All right,
Right.
what else are we going to chat about today?
Well, we were going to talk about highlighting key features or unique features of your home
Oh,
too. So, you know, that could include hardwood floors, could include crown molding, some custom closets, really interesting fireplace details. Um, and just make sure that if you are highlighting these things in your home, just make sure they're clean and well maintained as well. Because if they're prominently displayed and they truly are unique features, they'll catch your buyer's attention.
yes. And I think that that's important, that we always ask our clients about what are your favorite features of the house. And what we're seeing a lot more of that now is outdoor space, Sue. Let's talk a little
Hmm.
bit about outdoor space, like
Yeah,
what font right now. I mean, the outdoor kitchen is like, that's trending so high right now.
right.
Everybody
Swimming
has
pools
that
are
outdoor.
too.
What?
Swimming pools.
Oh, swimming pools, of course, especially here in the South. It's,
Right.
it's ready to start swimming now. People can swim all the time here. So that, and what we're seeing is fire pits. Everyone likes a fire pit at their house, and they're having these kitchens basically are just an extension of their space to their outdoor space.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
you're seeing that
Exactly.
nice big green egg, and, pizza oven. Pizza ovens seem to be really popular in the outdoor
Right.
kitchens and
Right.
outdoor TVs, also outdoor
Fireplaces, covered spaces.
fireplaces, porches, sunrooms, more screen and
Hmm.
porch than sunrooms.
Yeah.
Sunrooms just, I think, get too hot here in the South. I think they really do. So, but just spaces that are continuing outside too, as well. They're nice, nice yards and things like that, and flowers and things
Mhm.
like that. So that's kind of some good features. And then, people have water features where they have a pool with a waterfall, or the infinity pool, or a spa. Those are great. And you even see people that have, I don't know, little waterfalls that go off in, their backyards. So just to
Mhm.
make some nice soothing noise in their
Mhm.
backyard.
Yeah, that white noise is very relaxing for a lot of people.
Yeah. What other features like do people really like? I think anything having to do with kitchen or master are great
Right.
features.
Right, absolutely. I think home theaters have gone by the wayside a bit
Yes.
because people have, 85-inch TVs in their family rooms now. The Samsung TV that looks like a piece of art on the wall when it's not in use, and things like
Yes.
that. But people still do like to see, a place where they can exercise in their home, a little space for a gym, perhaps. And they do like to have space for guests. There's just
I would
and
say a
everybody's
good feature
different.
that a lot of people want is they want at least one bedroom on the main level, so
Mhm.
that if they have company or older parents or whatever, that they like that. We're also seeing some multi-generational houses where you've got, the kids and the parents and the grandparents or whatever living. So liking those three levels of space is always kind of nice too. And,
Mhm.
having that, kitchen in the basement, if you do have, the multi-level generational people that are
Mhm.
living in there. Those are
Mhm.
great features for that too. Um,
Mhm.
and everyone likes a big closet, right? Closet space and storage. For some reason, everybody likes closet. They want a big
Mhm.
closet. So that's a nice feature if you do have closet space.
Right. Right. Want to see, like you said before, updated kitchens and baths with quartz countertops and, no Formica anymore, no Corian anymore, things like
No.
that. Yeah. So.
And stainless steel has always been popular, and a lot of people are going towards that black, or whatever, I don't know. It's like stainless steel has been popular for a while now, but we are seeing
Mhm.
some people with some black appliances too, which are nice.
Mhm.
And just going back to bright, people, white cabinets are coming back right now because
Yeah.
they like the bright. Also, like having your island different cabinets than your regular part of your kitchen, that's really trending right now too.
Yeah, we see a lot of people that like white oak for their islands, things like that. White oak floors are very popular right now. And we can get into, different types of flooring and so forth in a future podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I think that that's key features. I think we really touched mostly everything on our
Mhm.
list here. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. And of course, if anybody has any questions or comments for us, we would love to hear those. And we'd love to get your feedback.
Yeah, we love it. So, you reach out to us. You can, listen to some more of our podcasts. And we're just the real estate ladies of North Atlanta, Mary Ellen Vanaken and Susan Jennings here. And thank you for listening to our podcast.